Well, welcome Perry Creek to another edition of Pastor to Pastor. I am Pastor John, and this is
Other Pastor John?
Other Pastor John. I'll go with original Pastor John, OPJ.
OPJ, all right.
OPJ. So we are here, we love this time. We come together as pastors and answer various questions about the life of our church. And right now, specifically, we are going to discuss the leadership of our church in the season that we're in, a season of transitioning as a church, as we go from having a lead team to then elders, and where we are in that process and what we're doing right now in that process. So you may remember that towards the end of May, early June, we had a sermon series where you walked us through 1 Timothy and Titus on what it looks like to be an elder. Who are elders? What are they called to do? What do they look like? How do we recognize them? And so in the recognition of elders, you talked about how elders are to have godly character. You talked about how elders are to have a godly household. You talked about how they are able to teach.
Right.
And then they must also aspire to be an elder as well. And then in that
you got to have the
sermon,
bandwidth, right?
You got to
have
the time. Yes. And then in that sermon, you then talked about how, as Perry Creek, what that is going to look like. So we went through that training as a congregation through the pastoral epistles of 1 Timothy and Titus. And then we nominated through our small group some elder candidates. So we took those nominations, and then all the people that were nominated by God's grace are now going through elder training.
Right.
And so in that elder training, we just kind of not heard about it for a while. So that was in June, and now here we are in November. So what's going on with those
people
elders?
are wondering, what's happening?
Yes.
Did they just disappear? So the short answer is we're preparing. So we are preparing to be elders. So our elder candidates are meeting every other week. We have 4 elder candidates. So it's Joel Brown, Mike Lanio, you, and me. We're meeting every other week. We are training to be elders. While we're doing that, the lead team is still leading the church. So we are not elders yet. You and I are elders in a sense because we're pastors, but we do not have an elder board yet.
Right.
So we are not elders until the congregation approves us, until we are ordained.
Right.
So the lead team is carrying the ball for now. Doing that, and then in the meantime, some of our teams, like the finance team, the outreach team, your missions team, they've been going a long time, but are starting to carry some of the work, which is really helpful for the lead team. So this year, we are so thankful. The finance team has done a bang-up job on our budget, and so some of that work is beginning to be decentralized. But the elders right now, elder candidates, are meeting to train.
Yeah. Good. So how long do you expect this training to take place?
So training will have about 15 sessions.
Okay.
It'll go until about mid-spring. And that's when you'll be hearing from us. And you'll get updates in between. But and just so that people kind of know the content of what we're training. So there's sort of 3 basic levels that we're doing on the training. The first is the basics. And that's really just getting to know each other, hearing each other's story in detail, hearing each other. How do you handle pressure? How do I know when you're in trouble? What's going on? Getting to know each other. Also,
so good.
Also studying the basics of what does the Bible say about deacons? What does the Bible say about elders? What does the Bible say about church members? So we're getting that down. We're almost done with that phase. Middle phase is where we sort of begin to do specific Perry Creek elder training. So that's everything from our defining documents, which are just so much fun.
Good read. Great
Church
reads.
Constitution, great read. So we'll work our way through those. We'll look at some sort of skill training, like how do you lead the Lord's table? How do you baptize? How do you visit people in the hospital? And then, so we'll just kind of put that all together in that middle session of training. And then the last session of training is, and when I say session, I mean like several sessions, but the last part of the training is going to be where we sort of figure out how we're going to do it. Okay, lay out the plan. How are we going to communicate with the congregation? How are we going to get to deacons and deaconesses? Because we have a ton of them, but we don't know what that process is going to be like. So we just begin to make the plan for how we're going to lead, so that when the elders step into place, we're not just kind of trying to find our feet underneath us, but we have a plan. So that's what we're doing now.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
So we had mentioned that we're right now being led by a lead team, which
Yeah.
has been the case from the beginning of Perry Creek. 12 people, 6 couples,
Yeah.
and then now we are going to have potentially 4 elders.
Right.
So is there a
So
reason
that's
for
a
that
third.
significant reduction? Why only 4? Are you
Yeah.
good with just 4?
I'm super good with 4. And what's cool is, I always say God has allowed us to just bumble into the right plan. When we started the church, we needed a larger group of people who were in on everything, made the decisions so that we could get the same DNA and same picture in our mind, and that's been super helpful. So the lead team, they were all the committees, plus elders, plus deacons, all kind of rolled into one. We needed a larger team for that. As we come on to elders, we don't need such a large team, and I'm actually, at first I wanted more, but I'm really grateful for 4. I feel like 4 is perfect for us right now, and that's for 3 reasons. The first is that, it's easier to get 4 people together.
Yeah.
It just is. You don't have to wrangle as many cats. Secondly, and most importantly, the most important thing that we're going to do this first year is set the culture for our elder team. If we get that wrong, we're going to struggle in big ways for a long time. So we want to set the culture. What is an elder? Are the expectations? How do they function? It's very important that we have a tight group of people that can work on that together. The last reason that it's good, it might be kind of counterintuitive, but it's this. We don't need the elders to try to do everything. We don't need the elders with their finger in every pie. They're there to exercise oversight. And so this encourages us to hurry up and get to deacons and deaconesses. It encourages us to let the teams do their work.
Yeah. Good, good. So, but you know that 4 is problematic, right? So if there's something that the elders need to vote on, then that's an even number.
Yeah.
So it could be 2 versus 2,
Yeah.
and it's split. What do you do, right? So what's the reason for only 4?
I've had a lot of, 4 is the
even number.
Is the number
An
that
even
God
number.
gave us.
Yeah.
But we're okay with an even number for this reason. I've gotten that question about 3 times. Listen, if our elders can't get to closer agreement than 2 and 2,
Yeah.
we got a real
It's a
problem.
problem, yes.
Yeah, even if we had a larger number, we would want 3 out of 4 as sort of a ratio.
Okay, that makes sense. Just want you to know that,
Yeah.
okay. So our lead team, as we have mentioned, are serving right now so faithfully,
Yeah.
as they've done from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But when we make this transition sometime next spring, what's going to happen to the lead team? Where are they going to go?
On vacation. That's the answer that some of them have given me. When this happens, I'm taking a vacation.
Yes.
No, listen, the first thing I want to say is we are incredibly thankful for our lead team.
Yes,
Guys,
yes.
I just want to look at the camera and I want to tell you something. I've served on a lot of church staffs and with a lot of church leadership teams. I've never served on anything that even comes close to our lead team. They are so humble. They have served so diligently. It's been amazing. And really, to tell you the truth, if God's word didn't say, you need elders in a church, I would have wanted to stay in that cocoon. So we are very thankful for them. As for what's going to happen with the lead team, I mean, first of all, some of them are elder candidates, so
Right.
that's coming. In addition to that, almost every couple on our lead team is leading a small group,
Right.
and many of them are serving on teams,
Yep.
so they'll continue with their service that they already have. I don't doubt for 1 minute that we'll get a good number of deacons and deaconesses out of that lead team because they are all qualified for that role. So that'll be very interesting to see. And then there may be 1 or 2 who could be elders in the future. They're apt to teach. They're elder types. We felt like bandwidth-wise, maybe this wasn't the best time. And there are a few people in our congregation that are that way. They are elder, they're elder types, but life is just a little too busy right now. So that, all of those things will happen in the future with the lead team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, our last question before we wrap things up is this. So we love Perry Creek. We love Perry Creek how it is.
Yeah.
So if Perry Creek makes this transition, how is it going to change Perry Creek?
Yeah.
What is it going to look like when elders take over?
Yeah, so 2 kind of answers to that. The first is not a lot, meaning that the culture of our church, we anticipate continuing on, right? So there's not like some big agenda change. The second thing is we'll see as the elders lead. Where we will see change is in the structure and the way ministries are carried out. Okay, so we're already starting to see that. You know, when we started, we wanted that larger lead team. Now we've got a smaller elder team. Committees are beginning to do, or teams are beginning to do their work. That's all very good. What this does is it gives us the capacity to expand.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't anticipate large changes immediately. It'll just be that it gives us a little bit more room to breathe. And yeah, I'm super excited about where God's going to take our church.
Change, but change for the better.
Yeah.
And according to what God's best is for us as a church. Well, thank you for joining us, and we are so thankful for our church. We love you dearly, and we will see you soon.